The radio in the Ford Explorer was still blaring Tejano music when Maria Hernandez and David Ramirez vanished on Highway 6 in the scorching Houston summer night of 2001. The brutal heat suffocated the city, but a bone-deep chill ran through anyone who knew these two young souls would never return home. At 12:45 a.m., the last message from Maria's Nokia phone appeared in desperate text: "Someone's following us." A witness mentioned a dark green Tahoe, but that detail mysteriously disappeared from police records as if it never existed. Welcome back to Cold Crime Stories HQ. Before we dive into this haunting tale that gripped Houston for over 2 decades, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps these forgotten voices alive. Every time someone skips subscribing, another story like this risks being forgotten. Don't let that happen. Hit subscribe and make sure these voices are never silenced. On August 18, 2001, Houston sweltered under oppressive heat while the annual Summer Music Festival pulsed with life near Discovery Green. Amid the crowd, Maria Hernandez, an 18-year-old recent high school graduate, gripped her digital camera and worn denim backpack, her eyes sparkling as she captured the final moments of the concert. Beside her stood David Ramirez, 20, a college sophomore with gentle eyes, carefully navigating his pristine silver Ford Explorer through the festival chaos. At 11:30 p.m., the couple left the festival. Friends later recalled David pausing to wave goodbye before vanishing into Houston's neon-lit darkness. But by 1:15 a.m., the Explorer reappeared in a chilling scene, abandoned on Highway 6's shoulder. The radio still blasted chaotic music, the passenger seat bore a small blood smear, and the driver's window was spiderwebbed as if struck by something heavy. Inside, police found a folded Houston street map with a red circle marking Buffalo Bayou Bridge. A woman's sandal lay forlornly on the floorboard, its strap torn loose. Maria and David had simply vanished, as if Houston's sprawling darkness had swallowed them whole. But at 12:45 a.m., Maria's phone had been active, sending that frantic final message to her best friend: "Someone's following us." The message lingered in the digital void like a cry for help trapped in cyberspace. When police traced the signal, they got coordinates off by nearly 15 miles, sending search teams scrambling through the wrong neighborhoods while the real location sank into silence. The Hernandez family reported them missing that night, but Houston police responded with cold indifference. They claimed the young couple might have eloped after the festival, ignoring the sheer panic in the parents' eyes. When news of the abandoned Explorer reached the families, fury erupted. David's father stormed into the police station, his fist slamming the metal desk. "He would never leave without telling me. Something terrible happened." In the corner, Maria's mother sat crumpled, clutching a photo of her daughter in her quinceañera dress, tears streaming as she begged, "Please believe me. Every second that passes is my daughter's life slipping away." But all they received was the officer's dismissive headshake and bland assurance that they'd probably return by morning. When dawn broke on August 19, Houston was shaken by the news that Maria Hernandez and David Ramirez had vanished without a trace. The abandoned Explorer with its disturbing evidence left no doubt: this wasn't a romantic getaway. This was a tragedy. Over 400 people gathered along Buffalo Bayou to join the search. The parking areas were packed with vehicles, police cruisers, pickup trucks, boats from volunteer fishermen. The sound of tracking dogs echoing through the humid air, their leashes taut as they sniffed through roadside brush. Every sound made the parents' hearts clench with desperate hope. The dogs held scent for a short distance before losing it near the water's edge. The handler frowned grimly. "There's a trail, but it cuts off like they were loaded onto a boat or another vehicle." Silence fell as many stared at the murky bayou water, hearts churning with dread. By noon, as Houston's merciless heat bore down, a diver surfaced from the brown water holding a waterlogged object, a faded denim backpack, unmistakably Maria's. The crowd fell silent except for the drip of bayou water. Inside was no wallet or phone, just a water-damaged notebook with smeared ink, still showing readable lyrics from songs Maria loved. To the family, it was undeniable proof Maria hadn't left willingly. Someone had deliberately discarded the bag to destroy evidence. Maria's mother clutched the wet notebook to her chest, sobbing, "She's still out there somewhere." She'd never abandon these words. Think about it, a simple click on subscribe could help keep these cases from turning into cold files nobody cares about. Wouldn't you want someone to do that for you? Meanwhile, a middle-aged man visited the police station, reporting that on August 18 while driving near Highway 6, he clearly saw a dark green Tahoe tailing David's Explorer. He recalled the taillights reflecting ominously in the darkness. When pressed for details, he promised to provide the license plate he claimed to glimpse. The investigation team surged with hope. A plate number could identify the owner within hours. But the next day, and every day after, the man never returned. When police tracked him down, he only shook his head, "I'm not sure anymore. Maybe I was wrong." The vague statement became another mystery. Was he scared, or had someone forced his silence? When the witness fell silent, police turned to the obvious suspect, romantic jealousy. They targeted Michael Johnson, Maria's ex-boyfriend. Michael, 20, had dated Maria for 8 months before their bitter breakup. Friends said he was devastated seeing Maria with David, even confronting them at a house party. On August 21, just 3 days after the disappearance, police knocked on Michael's door. He was led away amid neighbors' whispers, his face confused but trying to stay calm. Officers found scratches along his car's side, seemingly from a collision. Local papers published photos of Michael in handcuffs with bold headlines, "Ex-boyfriend under suspicion." That fragile hope quickly shattered. Forensics compared paint from Michael's car to traces on David's cracked window, no match. DNA from the Explorer's passenger seat completely ruled him out. Despite intense questioning, Michael insisted he was home playing video games with friends who vouched for him. When asked about Maria, his voice choked, "I still care about her, but I'd never hurt her." After 48 hours, Michael was released. The press swiftly pivoted with headlines, "Ex-boyfriend cleared." As public opinion split, Maria's family was engulfed in emotional turmoil. Sofia Hernandez, Maria's sister, was furious that police fixated on the wrong lead while other clues were ignored. If tomorrow it was your child missing, wouldn't you want the world to pay attention? Subscribing is how you pay attention today. From 2002 to 2010, the case file was shelved in a dusty cabinet, only occasionally opened when someone reported seeing a girl like Maria in Dallas or a guy resembling David at an Austin gas station. All were mistakes. Each fleeting hope extinguished, leaving exhaustion in waiting hearts. In 2004, hunters in northeast Houston found a blood-stained Houston Astros cap covered in dirt and leaves. Hope rekindled for the Hernandez and Ramirez families. It could be crucial evidence. But while they waited for forensic results, the cap inexplicably vanished from the evidence locker. An internal report vaguely cited administrative error. Nobody believed it. Sofia stood before cameras, her voice shaking but sharp. A blood-stained cap doesn't just disappear. Someone's hiding something. The cap's disappearance became a bitter turning point, destroying trust in the investigation. By 2005, the case was officially closed, labeled cold. For the families, it was like a death sentence for hope. Yet despite the case being closed, Maria and David's memory never faded. Every August 18, families and dozens of Houston residents gathered by Buffalo Bayou, lighting candles in remembrance. Hundreds of candles flickered in the night wind, reflecting on the water like prayers sent into darkness. After years of dormancy, suppressed pain began leaving irreparable cracks in the victims' families. David's father, once calm and faithful in justice, grew increasingly grim as police silence and the missing evidence eroded his trust. In 2008, while staring at his son's photo on the mantel, he collapsed from a massive stroke. His death was another knife in the family's unhealed wound. Maria's mother couldn't bear the strain. For 7 years, she lived under neighbors' prying eyes and whispered questions. Any news? Houston, a sprawling metropolis, never forgot the shocking disappearance, and people unwittingly turned her into a symbol of tragedy. She lost weight rapidly, her sleep constantly interrupted by nightmares. In 2009, She moved to San Antonio to escape a city where every corner reminded her of her daughter. Thus, only Sofia Hernandez remained in the fight for truth. At 26, her eyes carried the resolve of someone who'd lost too much. She taught herself to read forensic documents, studied Texas law, and wrote monthly letters demanding the case be reopened. She started a Justice for Maria and David social media group, attracting hundreds of followers. People vanish every day, and their names fade faster than you think. If you don't subscribe, you become part of the silence that erases them. Then in September 2015, Sofia received an anonymous email with a chilling line, "Ask about the green Tahoe." No address, no explanation. Sofia's heart raced. The green Tahoe, the detail that vanished from all official reports. For years, she'd wondered why no one pursued that lead. In 2018, nearly 17 years after the disappearance, when it seemed only Sofia still spoke of it, an unexpected turn came. After years of reviewing every clue, she couldn't let go of that anonymous email. On a sweltering June morning, she received an anonymous call, a gruff male voice hastily saying, "The old warehouse off Telephone Road. Go there." Before hanging up, the mentioned warehouse sat silently in an industrial field, its rusted metal siding and rotting door leaning precariously. Houston police, tired of Sofia's persistent calls, reluctantly sent officers along. When the creaking door opened, dust swirled thickly. Flashlights swept across cracked concrete until an officer bent down, picking up a glinting object from the debris, a silver chain with a cross pendant. Sofia's heart stopped. She recognized the necklace as one Maria wore constantly. Evidence was sealed and sent to forensics. Headlines blared, "New evidence in Houston disappearance." But weeks later, hope was cruelly crushed. The DNA didn't match Maria or David. Blood in the clasp was analyzed, pig blood, entirely unrelated to humans. The report concluded the evidence was staged. Sofia became a target of scorn. Social media erupted, "Sofia needs to accept reality." Some maliciously suggested she planted the necklace for attention. But Sofia knew someone had deliberately led her there, planting fake evidence to discredit her or conceal a deeper secret. If you can sit through this story but can't click subscribe, then ask yourself, what would you expect from the world if it was your face on a missing poster? In fall 2020, 19 years after that fateful night, Houston had grown accustomed to living with an unhealed wound. But then, on a gray morning, a construction worker near Humble, about 15 miles from Houston, stumbled over an unusual mound under an old mesquite tree. Digging just inches, he found a rusted metal lockbox, its lock broken but caked in mud. Inside was a digital camera with "Property of M. Hernandez" etched on the bottom, a torn concert ticket showing August 18, 2001, and most chilling, a photo of Maria from a distance at that final concert, her face beaming, unaware the lens was capturing her last moments. Houston police were notified immediately. Within hours, leaked news sent the community into frenzy. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, tangible evidence emerged bearing unmistakable marks of Maria and David. Forensic results sent shockwaves. On the box's surface, technicians found DNA and fingerprint traces. The samples matched Christopher Smith, a local auto mechanic now in his 40s. The name stunned those who'd followed the case. Christopher was the former owner of the green Tahoe vaguely mentioned by a witness in 2001. When police knocked at the garage where Christopher worked, acquaintances described him as quiet, sometimes volatile, rarely mentioning his past. A few confirmed that in 2001, Christopher was at the concert driving that green Tahoe, but when pressed for details, they clammed up. The DNA link turned years of vague theories into sharp focus. For Sofia, the discovery was both shock and vindication. She was exhausted from years of dismissed leads and mockery over fake evidence. Now, undeniable proof pointed to a specific name. If you're okay with these cases disappearing into the dark, don't subscribe. But if you're not, then join us, because these families can't fight alone. The lockbox discovery reignited the investigation. Police and FBI expanded their search to abandoned lots around northeast Houston where witnesses claimed to have seen Christopher's Tahoe on late nights. Cadaver dogs were deployed, moving in formation, noses to ground, leashes taut. One canine suddenly barked fiercely, frantically clawing at uneven ground near an ancient oak. The team cordoned off the area. A backhoe was brought in, but technicians opted to dig manually to preserve evidence. Dry, coarse soil was brushed aside, a sharp smell rising. Then a soft cry rang out, bones. Small bone fragments appeared under flashlights. First ivory shards, then a tibia and pelvis. Soon, a cracked skull emerged. Field forensics confirmed human remains, shallowly buried less than a meter deep. Steps away, another set was uncovered. During evidence transfer, an officer noticed a small object clinging to a rib bone, a silver quinceanera ring. Sophia, standing behind barriers, saw it from afar and sobbed uncontrollably. It was the ring Maria received for her 15th birthday, worn constantly through 2001. Another team found a black leather wallet pressed against the male remains pelvis. Inside, a faded University of Houston student ID bore David Ramirez's name. Forensic results released within 2 weeks left no doubt. The remains were Maria Hernandez and David Ramirez. Cause of death: both suffered severe cranial trauma with evidence of repeated blows by a hard object, possibly a tire iron or metal pipe. The news shook Texas. Evening broadcasts flashed, remains of Houston teens found after 19 years. A spontaneous memorial formed at their high school, where hundreds placed white flowers before their photos. For Sophia, seeing her sister's ring unearthed was both release and fresh wound. She trembled before cameras. We finally have answers, but no one prepared us for the pain of those answers. With physical evidence, remains, personal items, fatal wounds, and DNA linking to Christopher Smith, all eyes turned to him. On March 15, 2021, a convoy of patrol cars surrounded Christopher's house on Houston's east side. After tense minutes, the door opened. Christopher, now in his 40s, hair disheveled, face ashen, stepped out in a stained work shirt. He raised his hands, eyes cold, showing no fear. In his first interrogation, Christopher completely denied involvement. His voice was low, deliberate. "I don't know anything about it. Someone's trying to frame me for a crime I didn't commit." When shown the photo of Maria, he only smirked. That photo could belong to anyone. His defense attorney declared Christopher had a clear alibi. On August 18, 2001, he was with his girlfriend, ready to testify. But when the girlfriend was questioned, she broke down in tears, confessing she'd lived in fear for 20 years. She wasn't with Christopher that night. Instead, he'd come to her after the concert, agitated, and coerced her to lie if police asked. Court orders recovered data from her old phone. In the SIM card's memory, technicians found a message never deleted, sent in early hours of August 19, 2001. "If you open your mouth, you'll end up like they did." The sender, Christopher Smith. That message became the hammer blow to his alibi claim. When this evidence was revealed, Houston erupted. The public saw clearly, he hadn't just hidden guilt, but threatened an innocent woman to maintain his web of lies. On June 12, 2021, the trial began. The courthouse was packed, air thick with years of pent-up tension. Prosecutor Samuel Martinez stepped forward. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to confront a buried past. For 20 years, a family and community have lived in shadow. The question is, who hid the truth?" He pointed at Christopher. "The answer sits right there." Martinez displayed evidence on large screens: the rusted lockbox, Maria's camera showing her radiant smile, the DW wallet, photos of remains with the quinceanera ring. When images of vibrant Maria and David appeared, Maria's mother collapsed onto Sophia's shoulder, sobbing. Christopher sat motionless, no expression, no bowed head. A reporter caught him smirking faintly, further enraging the public. Dr. Laura Rodriguez, Texas's top forensic scientist, took the stand. She presented the camera. A June 2001 sales receipt listed the buyer as Christopher Smith. From David's wallet strap, Forensics found trapped hair. DNA comparison left no doubt, Christopher Smith's. The blood stain from David's Explorer, reanalyzed with new technology, matched Christopher's blood type and genetic markers. Martinez stepped closer to the jury. His blood was in the car. His hair was on the victim's wallet. His camera photographed Maria the night she vanished. 3 pieces, 3 independent proofs, all pointing to Christopher Smith. On the 4th day, something unexpected happened. Christopher suddenly requested to speak. He stood, hands trembling, voice strangely calm. "I was there that night. I fought with David, but I didn't mean to kill anyone." The courtroom erupted. Christopher recounted seeing Maria at the festival, following in his Tahoe when they left. On Highway 6, he cut off the Explorer. An argument exploded. David jumped out, they fought. "I got angry. We struggled. I don't remember what I used, just that rage took over." His disjointed account felt like daggers in the family's hearts. He admitted that after David was down, Jessica tried to run, but he grabbed her. In chaos, he struck her head. When both lay motionless, he panicked, eventually taking their bodies to the construction site near Humble, burying them shallowly. Martinez seized the moment. This is confession, even if cloaked as unintentional. But forensics prove fatal blows weren't accidental. These aren't acts of someone who stumbled into crime, but someone who knew they committed one. After deliberation, the jury returned. Christopher stood as the verdict was read, guilty of first-degree murder in the deaths of both Maria Hernandez and David Ramirez. Sobs broke from the public gallery. Sophia stood, clutching Maria's framed photo. "Finally, my sister is vindicated." The judge sentenced Christopher to life imprisonment without possibility of parole. As he was led away, he glanced at Sophia. Her gaze was ice-cold, not angry, but final. Outside, the crowd released white balloons into the Texas sky. Headlines read, "Cold Case, After 20 Years, Christopher Smith Sentenced to Life." That evening, Sophia returned to Buffalo Bayou where countless vigils had been held. She placed Maria's photo on the grass, lighting a small candle. "Sis, we finally have our answer." The Houston 2001 case isn't just a 20-year quest for justice, it's a mirror reflecting perseverance against indifferent systems. Through Sophia's journey, we see that evidence can be forgotten or hidden, but returns to light with relentless pursuit. The lesson here: individuals and communities must not stay silent against injustice. Like Sophia, we must question when something feels wrong, stay steadfast when systems seem indifferent. Trust in truth. Don't let silence become complicity. Fight patiently for justice, however late. Thanks for following Maria and David's 20-year journey to justice. If you believe these stories matter, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and share this video. Help us keep these voices alive and ensure no case is forgotten. Tell us in the comments what other cold cases you'd like us to cover. Until next time, this is Cold Crime Stories HQ, and we'll see you in the next video.